Nothing to worry about.
When you start getting into, like when you're designing shoes or whatever, you know, you see a little detail on a shoe that's just like at a store and you're like, oh, that'd be cool. So you end up getting it, and after a year or two, you just have so many, you know. I mean, I always just got skate shoes, and you're just getting them because they're disintegrating in a couple weeks. So you're just like, oh, go to the skate shop and get whatever. It was never really, I was like, paying attention into it, just kind of got whatever. I remember I always liked white shoes though. Whenever I talk to my mom, she's always, are you still doing shoes? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you always like white shoes. We did a colorway. Everybody seems to always mention to me of an old Excel shoe. You know, I like that shoe. I skated. It's the only shoe I skated at that time. So doing a colorway of that shoe just was sort of a no-brainer. Timberland boots. That's where I got the idea, inspiration for these. You know, coming from the East Coast, and obviously Penny was a huge inspiration for not only this brand, but myself, and I guess probably every skater. And there's always that infamous story, is like when he was asked about a signature shoe, he just brought him a Timberland boot, you know? I don't know, I always thought that was great. But, well, yeah, actually, a short while after this shoe came out, we put this little Boston B on there. I became friends with the Lucchino family over there, the Red Sox, and I was like, you know, talking to them, like, hey, can I use the logo on some stuff? It was definitely kind of cool, the way it came out for the time. You know, it came up like, hey, like, want to do a shoe, what do you want? I just had never really, like, thought about that at that time, so I just kind of, I didn't really have an answer. I didn't really like think about it. It was just sort of like, okay, cool. Yeah, they kind of asked like to get the ball rolling, like what shoes do you like, you know? So I just sort of spitballed 2 shoes that I liked, and then they took those 2 shoes and like made one. I had always thought about boards like that, but never shoes. I hadn't gone into shoes at that point. I was always particular about boards and like shape, width, wheelbase, all that stuff from super young, but it hadn't really hit me with shoes, and this probably started that. This shoe. It was like, oh, okay, I want to like get into it and like design a really sick shoe. So then, the next opportunity to do a shoe, got really into it as I got into like designing shoes and like learning more about it. This is the one I like went like way, you know, into it. Yeah, we just wanted to design a shoe and not limit ourselves, I think, and just be like, yeah, let's just do it, just make something great. So I mean, for this one, you know, I had kind of gone from the extreme of not knowing anything about shoes, and then with this one kind of pouring everything into it and trying to find like a happy medium to it all and kind of coming to that middle ground, I think. And then we come to, you know, doing the shoes with New Balance. So I mean, by the time, you know, this opportunity came up, I had sort of, you know, kind of knew exactly what I had wanted and, you know, how to achieve it. There was obviously the connection with, you know, New Balance being from Boston, and, you know, it just sort of seemed like the perfect storm of a lot of things. You know, this is definitely a direct sort of East Coast-y influence on the colorway, Boston influence on the colorway. But it's just sort of like the perfect middle ground of like board feel and enough support on a cup sole, simple, but it just is super streamlined. So it just took all the excess off of everything and just kind of what you need. And it's got an anatomical sort of midsole design to it. So that's the first I had ever seen in skating with that. There were 4 original shoes. I sort of zeroed in on this one to the beginning one and helped sort of refine it. And then from there we went to and made it even better to skate. And this one we call the 533. So we just took all the best parts about this one and then just made it even more skatable. So it's constantly evolving. It's not just like, hey, let's make a new shoe. It's like, no, we have it. Let's just keep refining it and making it better as we sort of live with it, you know? Yeah, I mean, New Balance's strong point is just the overall fit of the shoe, and that's sort of their focus from the beginning is how it fits. So, I mean, it's just the fit's always getting better from 479 to 533, and then onwards as we do version 2 and 3, and going into the future with this particular shoe, it's always evolving for the better, similarly to how like maybe a skateboard truck would evolve. You know, it doesn't just change every 6 months, it evolves for the better. What I've sort of learned through the years with shoe design, you know, going from the first one and to the other one, it's just kind of finding a real happy medium in designing what works, because it's for a purpose, it's for skating. You know, you have a definite sort of thing you're trying to do with the shoe. You know, it's utilitarian in that sense, but it's also infinitely creative. That's what I enjoy about it.